guys. I've already started sipping this today. I'm Rhea.
Champagne.
Reba.
And Lynn.
And we are here once again bringing you our book to movie adaptation. Today's book is Little Fires Everywhere.
By
Fires
Celeste.
everywhere. By who? Celeste Ng?
Yes. There. We are drinking
More.
our favorite so far.
More.
Orange Muscat by Cooper's Hawk Winery. We love it. It's refreshing. It's not too sweet, but sweet enough. It's perfect.
And with a little slither of some sourdough bread.
Or just the wine. We're going to go with that.
Yeah, I'm good with just the wine, but thanks.
And thanks to Treva for being our wine fairy and dropping off some wine to us. It was a nice surprise. Yeah. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Bring us more.
Okay, so let's jump into this adaptation.
Yes, please.
Or I guess the story. Did you guys enjoy reading the book?
Loved it.
I did.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I did too. I
thought it was enough to keep me going, keep me engaged, you know?
Yeah, it was very, like you said, it definitely kept me engaged. I like the mystery of it. I'm like, where's this going?
Right, because you really didn't know where the book was taking you. I thought it was a very cute story.
I had like different ideas in my head of like where things would go, how it was going to be, who was going to be the one setting fires, and it just kept turning and changing. So I loved it. The book per se, the movie too, but like the show, but the book really did.
The adaptation, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
What y'all think about that? I understand that for the first time in the history of our podcast, Lynn has 4 pages of notes based on this movie.
You do?
My chicken scratch, but yeah, I was pulling a champagne like.
And I don't like, and I don't like, and I do like, and I do like. Yeah.
Okay, so one of the first notes that I had is the 70 cents. Like, that was the same amount that Izzy used on the bus when she was running away. And it's the same thing that that BB had when she used at to try to buy the formula. So, like, small things like that were, like, happening from the beginning to the end. So, I felt like...
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The 70s change. It was really cool.
So, neither do I.
What? Champagne? That's
formula?
You.
Wait, what are you talking about? What formula?
Okay, so when BB was crying and upset and she was trying to get Mei Ling to stop crying, she went to the store to try to buy formula, and all she had was 70 cents.
Yeah.
And she was like, they said no for the formula. And then at the end, when Izzy was trying to get on the bus to pay for her ticket, all she had was 70 cents.
Yeah, I remember that.
I feel like you're good. You're so good.
No, but let me tell you, I was lost when you were talking, but I have actually a note about that because to me that was a whole privilege thing that came into the picture.
Exactly. And also, I feel like the director and the screenplay writer actually read the book.
Yes.
To be able to tie those things together. I was like, thank you for actually reading the book.
Right. But that when I saw that at the end, I was like, See, that's the difference between the two right there. That's some old privilege right there. That's what it's about.
And that's what I feel like the show kind of was like getting towards, was like the privilege, like cultural differences, the assumptions. So at that point, I realized that was important, but not like super significant. But I like the connection they were making with that.
Right. Yeah.
But I do have a question though.
It did make a deep connection with this whole racial tension and the LGBT community, which wasn't real prevalent in the book to me.
Exactly.
So I feel like they changed the dynamic of the story and made it, I guess, more relevant to kind of what's going on today.
Really cultural driven. And I was like, I didn't find the book that culturally like pushy, but the show I definitely did. I was like, all right, well,
that was one of the questions that I really wanted to be able to pose to Celeste. Like, was this a message that you were trying to put out? Was it something that you always really wanted to put in the book, or you just wasn't able to, or how did that come about? Because it was a very interesting change from the book.
Yeah, it could have been that she wanted to just stay neutral in the book, and then the movie gave her the outlet to kind of reach a little further. Maybe.
Exactly.
That's a good question.
Because she produced it, so whatever happened, she did. So that's why I was like,
realize that we should try to get a combo with her.
I did.
Celeste.
Reach out.
Okay. Well, maybe she'll hit us back because that is a great question.
Wait till you're sober to reach out again. Okay.
Can you please?
I'm sober.
One of the other questions that I had was in the opening scene of episode 2, she was like having sex with some guy in the car, and then Pearl was in the back, and I'm just like, wait, was she just like, was she a prostitute, or like I get in the book it made it seem like she did not have sex at all, like
but
she was
an asexual person, like
no
interest in sex.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and
that
then
really
like
bothered me because I didn't like how it portrayed her. It
made it seem kind of dirty.
Like that would do that with her kid in the car. Like that blew me.
Even if she was sleeping or not. And then like in the book, it made it seem like her whole life, Mia's whole life was about Pearl. Like she had no relationships with men that were like sexual or dating because it was always about Pearl. And then in the show, it was like, I'm gonna sit here and like have sex in a car with my child, not even 2 feet away. Like I didn't like how it transitioned from like her being a strong mother to being like, oh, I'm a mother by getting my freak on in the car. And like the guy, she was like, you gotta go, and the guy is like hops up and like tucks his penis in and leaves. Like what? There was no like bye, see you later, no hug. So that to me seemed like she was a prostitute. And I'm just like, how do you go from the book to this? Like I don't get her character and why you changed who she was.
Right. I hated everything about Mia's character in the movie.
And then also, Lynn, did you notice not only did she act that way, but she obviously had no problem expressing that to her child, because she kind of repeated that. Like, my mom is really about having sex with whoever, whenever, this free, blah, 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 because she said that.
Yes, Pearl did say that. And I was just like, that's not how the relationship was.
Exactly.
It was like, my mom is about me and her art.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. And then all of a sudden now you sleeping with guys in the front seat, and then the random owner of the Chinese place, I'm just like, come on. You're changing Mia to be this negative person when she wasn't.
Which really bothered me.
Negative and just bitter. And I'm like, that is not how I visioned her while reading the book.
Bitter.
The movie was like,
did you guys vision her as a black woman?
Yeah.
I did.
Okay, because I visioned her as a black woman. I actually envisioned her more as biracial for some reason.
But favoring the black side?
Bingo. And so it bothered me a little bit because I felt like when you now put book to movie, she's 100% black looking and acting, and yes. And now she's the angry black woman.
And angry. Like, don't put all black people that way.
That bothered me. That's why those are the questions that I really want to pose to Celeste. Like, what was that about?
No, because the attitude to me was kind of a typical scandal Kerry Washington, right?
Yes.
And so I don't know if her personality changed the whole that whole character, or if that's really what Celeste wanted. But I was not happy at all with that attitude, because she was so carefree and light to me in the book. Like, everything just
flower child
shoulders, and you can hear her saying, no worries, or something like that. Like,
or even the way that she interacted with the people in Shaker is like, even with like Reese Witherspoon's character, Elena. She was kind of like not angry with her, but kind of like, keep her at a distance because she's privileged in the book. But like, she wasn't like, what do you want? Why are you here? Why are you asking me to be your maid? It was like all these things that she kind of just came across as aggressive. And I'm like, that wasn't how I read in the book. Like, in the book, she was kind of like, I see what you're saying. It's a job. I get money. I'm an artist. I'm go with the flow. I learn about it through experiences. And this one, she was like, no, I don't do that. No,
exactly. In the book, she didn't care. It was about making money and putting food on the table for her and her daughter. She didn't care what type of job.
Exactly.
And that really, really bothered me. I was like, I just don't understand, like, why that was
Why would we have to go there?
Yeah. One thing is I didn't like, they did do the background story with her and Pauline a lot, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not catch a sexual relationship at all in the book.
They did, because Pauline and the lady of the art center, they were a couple.
That's what I thought. And then I was like, did I read something incorrectly? Like, they were sleeping together naked in the bathtub? Like, wait, what?
Yeah. And that's where the photo came from?
Right. And that wasn't the photo that was on top of the mantle either.
Champagne got some.
Go ahead, Champagne. Get it, girl.
Go ahead.
What you got to say, girl? What's your name?
Go, girl.
That freaking photo, for one, the photo that was shown before it showed the backstory was the young Kerry Washington.
Yeah.
And the photo that she sold was actually Curry.
Yeah, they messed that up.
They messed that up.
Wasn't the one that she sold was the monster one with her like dancing around? No, not the one in her in the tub?
No, that one. The one
she
said
I
pregnant.
Ignore that note then, because I sorry.
Yeah, because they were all like, yeah, that is her. It's just a younger version of her.
In the picture, it was actually her. They should have used the other girl.
Yes.
I think I'm confusing two parts, but I'm back.
Okay, so...
Yeah. So when she needed the $400,000 or the $30,000, but $400,000, how much she got, she sold that one of her in the bathtub with a pregnant belly. Yeah. Okay, I'm thinking at the end when she was like wrapping up the picture with the monsters on it. So sorry, my bad. I connect to different things. I'm on a Rhea status. My bad.
When they did the whole episode of Young Mia, is when Mia took the picture, or Pauline took the picture
in the bathtub, which that bathtub is not that big.
Huh?
The bathtub is not that big.
No, it wasn't.
But
when they went the belly and all, ain't that big.
Right. When they went to sell the picture, it was actually the older Kerry Washington. So it didn't make sense. You know, they messed up completely on that one.
Yeah. They did.
They messed up a lot.
They did.
I didn't like Mia going off on Lexie about the privilege. I understood it, but it wasn't in the book. It had nothing to do with anything. You was there. The whole book was saying she was consoling her.
Yeah, she was helpful and being a guiding like person, not like a chastising person.
Not like
I completely agree, Champagne.
Woman.
Right.
It wasn't an angry black. I really feel like Kerry Washington changed this book. Now I don't know. That could just be me. But it just was so much of her with her other characters that I felt like the actress is who changed I mean, I don't know. You know, Celeste, of course, produced it. She could make it go however she wanted. But I just feel like it almost took on the role of the actress and not really the role of the story.
Yeah, agreed.
I want to say something about that, not to jump to casting, but I have to get it off my chest because I'm about to burst. You see how... Now, I feel like the young Mia... the young lady who played young Mia, was spot on in playing Kerry Washington.
Yes.
Her whole mannerism, everything is just the way she talked, and every little thing was her. Great little actress.
Yeah. Tiffany Bourne.
Yes. Perfect.
But yes, I agree, Champagne, yeah.
The problem is that I don't like how Kerry Washington acts. So it was just like, I can't have two of them. I can't.
Her chopped up speech, and she breaks things down. I get it. She's trying to be like influencing, but like she just like chops down her words to make sure like they're prevalent in like some ways, but then it just sounds like a chopped up sentence and not like you're being like a strong black woman.
Exactly.
It's like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Who are you talking to?
I'm telling you, because I was addicted to Scandal and I love Kerry Washington, I just feel like somehow that role wasn't separated. Like, normal people don't talk like that. And so that's what really bothered me. Even if she was this eccentric person that thinks carefully about what they say, it didn't come across that way. It came across as,
maybe because like that's what gave her like big fame was the Olivia Pope character. That she thought that she had to bring a little bit of that with her into this role to make sure that she brought her fans with her. And I'm like, to me, if you show the diversity and that you can actually be a different character, be that strong black woman, be that artistic, go with the flow, hippie, that right there, showing the variance of it, is going to pull me in as a fan. Not you being Kerry Washington as Olivia Pope 18 times.
Right. And I feel like the person who made the movie or the series was looking at that awe factor they have in Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington on there. I think that's why that big name.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like the director gave her the direction. I mean, because I actually love Kerry Washington as an actress, and again, just like Rhea, I was addicted to Scandal. But I just feel like the director has to give the direction, and it may be that the director wanted that same Olivia Pope because that would draw people in to watch the movie. So I agree with you; it's that awe factor, bringing everybody back to, who she was. Because I also look at Pearl, and at no time in that book was she ever disrespectful to her mother. Was she rude? Was she even to go live with Reese Witherspoon's family? Like that whole dynamic. Again, was an angry black little girl, who's going to grow up to be an angry black woman. And that wasn't Pearl's character. She was a very loving little girl.
And I understood her mom to the point of like, you know what, this is who she is. Mm-hmm. She's always been the same way. I respect her for who she is. Yeah, there's things that we don't talk about, but I know that my mom's always going to look out for me and take care of my best well-being. Point blank. And that was not in the movie.
I did not like
both of them were angry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The fact that both of them were angry tells me that I think that's the direction that the director wanted.
Well, that's the problem.
It is.
To me, the movie, the book was so much. Mia had so much more control over the situation, and then I just feel like in the movie she just had no control. Everything just went kaput.
And then she did that face that's like
all that crying and fighting and all that stuff. She did not lose control like that in the book. She had it together. No. She was poised and just, this is the way.
And be like, life is what it is. We're going to accept it the way it comes at me, but we're going to find a conclusion from this problem.
Yeah.
That's how I took it in the book. And then this was like, I got to be on my offense and defense and this and that. But versus the book was just like, we're going to solve this problem. Cool.
What bothers me is that, you look at this, and it may be just me, you look at this TV show and see that it's a hit, but you kind of wonder, okay, but why is it a hit? Are y'all laughing at the angry black woman? Like, because it's already a stereotype. Why is this? I hope it's not because that's why it's successful.
Champagne turned into a retriever.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Champagne. I'm
just saying to make you think, man.
Are y'all laughing at me?
Quarantine make you woke.
I'm swimming in the mud. It's so deep in the water, girl.
No, I agree with you though. I'm like, you don't need that to sell.
You don't.
And Pearl being ashamed of her mother, like
it was a good story.
Yeah.
And it was such a good story before, and I feel like they just changed and you know what's funny? I put a note and it says, I feel like they changed the meaning of Little Fires Everywhere. And it went from like you don't know what kind of like olive branch or like what path you're gonna take. So the Little Fires definitely changed your path, as I took from the book. But this one was like, you never know what kind of dirt you're gonna dig up about somebody with like Elena and like Lexie and her getting pregnant or whatever. And like I feel like those were the fires. I feel like they changed the meaning of Little Fires Everywhere from the book to the movie. And I'm just like, why did you do that?
The movie, they presented it as a fresh start. You burn everything down and you get a fresh start. Remember
they did talk about that a little bit in the movie, and I put a note that like the scorched earth talk that Mia had like was actually very powerful, but like wrong timing.
Right, exactly. No, I get it. It was completely different.
The book to me felt like, there's all these little things going on in everybody's life that you have to kind of work to put out to keep life going. But it was still on some positive note. And this to me was just like depressing.
Burn this shit down.
It was negative. I felt like
see what happens.
The whole TV show was negative. And I don't, like I said, it must be me and the Black Power thing, but do we supposed to find comfort in the white person being with the white people's house? You know what I'm saying? Like daughter.
That's how they presented Pearl. Like things were perfect.
Like I'm more comfortable
there, and now I'm ashamed of my mom because we don't live like that.
Right.
But to add to that statement, Champagne, I feel like they changed it at the end and was like, see, Izzy was so unhappy in this white cookie cutter Christmas card with like the plaid on like lifestyle that she knew she didn't fit in, and she needed to be more of a free spirit with Mia. So I feel like they were going for that, and they changed it at the end and was like, nah, need to be a free agent.
I mean, I didn't mind the comparison because I felt like really in life, not just with black or white issues, it could be black, white. Somebody always thinks the grass is so much greener on the other side because they don't actually see what's going on inside that household. And so, you get these beautiful Christmas cards. You get this wonderful mom's involved in everything, but you don't know inside the doors that everybody's ready to tear each other apart, or one's ready to commit suicide, or one's ready. You just don't know. So I like that aspect that came out of it. I just don't like the way they changed the dynamic. Why can't the single black mom and her daughter have a pretty good relationship? Like, why can't they just be okay?
Because it don't sell.
That would have sold.
It was still a good story.
I mean, to them, they don't feel like it's going to sell having a positive black outlook.
Like it. So Celeste, listen to this and let us talk to you because we're just trying to figure out where were you going? Is this what you always wanted, or is this just a new spin just for TV? I don't know. I want to know.
So I have a question to pose to you guys. In this situation, who was wrong? Who was more wrong? Which mother, Mia or Elena? What do you guys think? They both were wrong, but who was more wrong, I should say?
I think the new Kerry Washington Mia was wrong.
After the book in this movie, yeah.
What do you mean new? The older one?
I mean, the way they changed her was wrong. Like, I think if the movie was exactly like the book, all blame goes to the other psycho.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean like which change was the worst. I meant like in each situation, as in the show. So like Kerry Washington lying to her daughter. I'm sorry, Mia lying to her daughter, not telling her about the father and the whole situation and how it came out, versus Elena kind of like scooting things under the rug and then ostracizing one of her own daughters to her that doesn't fit into her cookie cutter lifestyle. So which one do you think?
I definitely think Elena was more wrong. I mean, I think Elena. I mean, I get Mia's side of it. I mean, I think Mia waited too long to give her the truth. She was too old. I understand hiding the truth for a little while until they get about 11 or 12. And then maybe you kind of got to tell them what happened. But I think that Elena definitely just, like, she alienated her entire family to be what she felt like her mom wanted her to be instead of just
tired.
Because she was happy. She was happy at some point. And so she switched her lifestyle to make her mom happy, which actually made her miserable and made everyone around her miserable, including her husband. Like, that was horrible.
Well, I think Elena also, and I think in the series, the husband put it best. You brought Mia into our situation or into this life. You felt so bad at this. Oh, this poor black woman don't got no body. She needs me. I'm gonna do the right thing as my white privilege and offer her this place or whatever. So she initiated all of this. So she's the bad guy for me.
Treva?
I'm torn.
That's why I posed this question, because I literally wrote it down in like all caps and like circled it to make sure I asked it, because I was thinking in my head, I was going back and forth on which one. So I wanted to know all of you guys' opinions.
So, I mean, I look at the Mia character and just the bouncing from town to town and the limited stability that she provided for her daughter, which again is another stereotype of African Americans, where they don't necessarily have these stable households. So there's a part of me that's torn that feels like, you know what? You should have did something so that they could be a little bit more stable. Because even if she had sold a picture and still was sort of free fall, it would have been enough so that she could pay rent and that Mia could have a stable home. And so I'm not real happy with that aspect of it. And I think sometimes...
You changed her name, so you're good.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes that has a more negative effect on kids in the long run. But then I also have problems with the Reese Witherspoon. So I'm really torn because that whole isolation of the one child breaks my heart.
Oh, yeah.
And no matter what happened, that child was treated so poorly. Now, the book went into a lot more detail as to why that was, and it was really out of fear for her daughter that she projected that. I wish the movie would have showed more of that, so at least you had an understanding about where she was going. So I don't know. I can't answer that question. I'm torn. Sorry.
So for me, it was like, I'm with you, Treva, and I say that because in the book, it was like, yeah, Mia moved from town to town with her daughter and didn't really tell her what was going on, but they had a mutual respect for each other. They loved each other, and when they got the shaker, Mia bonded with Izzy. And in the movie, I felt like it was like touched upon here and there. She got a key and came over and like looked at her art. But like in the book, I felt like it was really a lot more of a connection. Like she felt that Mia saw her versus not being seen at home. So I felt like Mia was like a protagonist. Like she was kind of bad because she was a liar, but then still an antagonist because she,
Right.
I'm sorry, I had them reversed. But anyways,
Yep.
she
We got
felt, yeah, she felt like she could help in some way because she saw the other free spirit in this child. So she was a guidance to her. So I felt like in the book, it was like either or. In the movie, she was just dead wrong for how she did things. But I felt like it was not the good outweighed the bad.
Yeah.
And with Elena, I just felt like she just built a whole different.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you. She just built a whole different like false reality for her family, and her family felt like that was okay. Well, I'm sorry, not okay. That was how they should be living because that's what they saw every day. They all knew it was wrong, hence why at the end of the movie or show they just like burnt everything down. But at the same time, like you created this horrible mess, Elena did, and you are wrong for what you did. But instead of being like, you know, what happened? And she was like, I did this. Like, no, I'm gonna need you to actually realize that like your children, not just one, all of them hate you because of you. So who do I think more like is more wrong in the situation? I think Elena. And for a while it's been to go back and forth about it because morally it seemed more wrong for Mia in the show. But if you think about like the long run about it, Elena was definitely more wrong.
Elena cut her.
Hands down was Elena. Yeah. So in the book, hands down, I felt like it was Elena, but the movie, because of the way they changed,
they left out her connections with other people. Besides BB, and that was it. It was like, oh, I'm helping you out because you're a single mom too. Like that was it. But like Mia had connections with Izzy. Mia had connections with Lexie. She had connections with Moody and like everybody, even people at her job. And like they left all that out, like making her this like you said, angry black woman. And I just feel like if they knew the book Mia, they would see her differently than the movie or the show Mia.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to pose that question because I'm just like, I was so torn about who was more of the wrong in the situation, but it's a toss up, honestly. But yeah, I started like taking champagne's like lead and making my notes and actually saying like And also, listeners, please tell us what you think too, because I would love more feedback on this question. I feel like it's only touched the surface, so tell us what you think, please.
Right. But I would encourage listeners to read the book also because
yes, please.
That question to me isn't as powerful in the book because it's crystal clear who this bad person is. But the movie just changed because it changed the dynamics. It's sort of like there's almost a lot going on in that movie.
Well, I was reading like Facebook statuses of people that were reading or watching the show, and they're like, "Oh, the show was so good! I can't believe that like Elena did that and this and that." And I'm just like, "All right, I get your opinion, but do your background research. Like, read the book and like think about who they are as people. And people that are shown in the movie aren't who is portrayed in the book." Yeah. And so I commented on every single one of them, and I was like, please read the book and then get back to me. And for two, in a couple of weeks, listen to the podcast and see what you think after that.
The podcast, yes, Lynn.
So, and I was like, here's the link. I'll tag you. But yeah, I just was like, I wanted to know what people thought because every mother, every woman, and all of us being women of color think differently. Yeah. We have some similarities, but we all think differently. We all value different things. And I feel like Mia was not the representation that I wanted it to be in the show. Right. At all.
Why does she always have to get high to do art? Like, can't she do art?
Yes. She's already high on life. You're an artist.
Great art without being high. Like, okay.
You're an artist. You don't need to be high.
But it's another stereotype.
Laundry list on this?
It's another stereotype.
I said you didn't have your laundry list of
I did, but Lynn touched on a lot of mine too.
Oh.
Because we were here. We were here. Thank you. We were here. Mm-hmm.
No, I'm
It's
afraid.
funny because I started like writing things down, and I was like, "That's something that Champagne would say."
The inner Champagne was coming out.
Like, I know you really always hone in on those differences, and so I was picking up the little differences, and I was like, Champagne's gonna point that out too. Yeah. So I was thinking about you.
So what do you guys think about the cast?
Oh yeah. Back to that.
Right.
I like Kerry Washington and everything else. Prior to Scandal, I did not. Scandal, I loved, but in this role, I did not see her as Mia. Everyone else was perfect.
Did you guys see like what's her name, Lisa Bonet or is that her name? Am I thinking of
Mia? Yeah, Lisa Bonet or even her daughter, right?
Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah.
Like I could see them either one of them two playing Mia.
Definitely Zoe, but like the
character
character
transition.
spirit. Yeah. And I actually liked the dynamic between Reese Witherspoon and Joshua Jackson, who played Bill Richardson, her husband.
Yeah.
They grew up together in like the whole like 90s teeny bopper movies.
Yeah.
And they weren't in the same movies that like together that often, but they were in the same group of friends. Like Reese Witherspoon's ex-husband Ryan Phillippe is like best friends with Joshua Jackson. So seeing their vibe on screen was actually pretty awesome for me. Plus it was the 90s and like middle school, high school, and that was like right prime for me. So like seeing all the like it was like flashbacks, and I was like, yes, Crow Intentions is back.
See, I don't even remember him.
What about like her ex?
Dawson's Creek, come on.
I didn't watch Dawson's Creek.
I'm obsessed. Obsessed.
What about you, Rhea?
I was saying, what do you guys think about like the scenes with her ex?
So did I miss it? Because I don't remember the ex in the book. Was the ex?
Wasn't at all.
It wasn't.
I don't even remember anything about
It came
this.
from nowhere.
Luke Brassey. He played Jamie Kaplan. Sorry, I can't speak.
No. That's why I was like, where did that come? I mean, it was a cool dynamic, I guess. But it made her look more like a floozy.
Well, you definitely showed her being unhappy and why she was unhappy, and the fact that she kind of ruined her life for this cookie cutter lifestyle. She never followed her heart ever.
Yes, that she had a little bit.
Why she didn't allow her children to.
Right.
But you know what I thought that they did a pretty good job was the husband, the adoptive family, the Ryans. Of course, Jesse Williams is everybody's favorite. I'm not a huge fan of him, even though I do watch Grey's Anatomy, but he uses the whole light-skinned, light-eye privilege part way too much for me. He did fit that role well, but his wife...
Watch it, sucker! Now watch it!
Don't you nobody talk bad about Jesse.
He's basically my brother, so yeah.
I was going to say, if out of all of us, Lynn probably is the only one who could speak freely because she fits in the category.
Exactly. So I could say like, nah, bruh, let it go. But Madeline Ryan, the wife, Nicole Bihari, I guess is her name. Her, when I saw her for the first time with the curly hair, and she actually looked like, I get why their character was looking at Mia. I meant Mia. Yeah, Mia when she was younger and being like, you look like my wife. They did a good job with the casting to make sure that like they actually kind of had some similarities, not just curly hair. So I feel like sometimes they see a black woman and it's like, oh, she has curly hair. She's this skin tone. Boom, they look alike. Exactly. But like this one, they actually chose two actresses that had a resemblance, and you can kind of see why the husband, Mr. Ryan, chose
staring at her and following her.
Exactly. So I did like that part of the cast.
They made his thing so freaking creepy. Like,
but that's how she described it in the book. Like, you know, like,
oh man, I didn't get that much of a creep.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
Remember, she was like, you know, my friends tell me I should, like, you know, my friend talked to me about this before. Like, I should have called the police, but, you know, young and dumb, I agreed to meet him. Like that, I did get creeper out of it. Okay. I don't know how this young girl turned into Kerry Washington, but I mean, I think, you know, the two of them was kind of cool.
And even though he has like a lighter eye, he still has a very piercing look. So can you imagine like that piercing stare across a subway train in New York? I'd be like, I'm leaving. Like, I don't know
that I've been like, I would have been like this. What? What did you say?
I'm gonna have your baby, And we gonna do it the old-fashioned way. That's for sure.
I would say, I am your sister. This is disgusting. Stop looking at me.
He does look like he could be a member of our family, believe me.
Exactly. So I can't do it.
He probably is, just like Michael Ealy, but that's a whole nother stuff.
And anyway, so
why does every conversation have to revert back to Michael Ealy?
Because Michael Ealy's your brother.
Don't know.
So what do you guys think about Lexie Underwood? She played Pearl as not as a character.
I liked her.
She fit that Pearl role.
I think she fit the role perfectly. I actually loved her as an actor. I just didn't like the way they changed her personality in the storyline, but I think she did a great job.
Oh, I agree.
I think the entire younger generation, for me, each person fit exactly how I pictured them in the book.
And
I thought that was a good casting.
Agreed. And I loved Izzy. Like, she played, when she wrote on her forehead, first of all, dead. But her whole, like, she still looked like she fit in that family. But then her Doc Martens and, like, the darker look and she was still being herself, but, like, trying not to. I mean, she was, like, shaking, like, rattling the cage, but, like, she wasn't blowing things up yet. And that whole scene with her and being a lesbian with her best friend April. At first, I was like, what kind of addition was that? But then I kind of like it because it kind of extenuated her eccentricness a little bit more.
Yeah.
That she really didn't fit in her family.
We can't like one part but not like the other. Like, to me, stick to the freaking book, will you please?
But she, the scene where they showed Reese Witherspoon cutting her out of the picture, and she talked about it, and then she saw it in the trash can. It broke my heart.
Me too. But you see, it broke her husband's heart too.
Yeah, because I mean, he knew it. He knew how she felt and how she was because he always let off Lexie. I mean, Izzy, let off, and to see it, like, tangibly see how your wife felt about your children. And then for her to throw it back up and be like, I didn't want a fourth kid. I was like, oh,
wait a minute. Not only to throw it back up in his face, but the chick told the child that. Like, who does that? I didn't want you anyway. Really?
And she was like, well, cool, I'm out.
But it also shows.
But I do love how the other. Sorry, Champagne, go ahead.
It also shows that, Elena, you made her this way, clearly. If you treated her this way, indirectly, directly, she felt it and probably was brought up that way. My mom hates me, so she's going to have that attitude towards you.
Instead of just like showing her something different, just try to prove her wrong. You're right.
I'm different and you hate me. So I'm going to just, emphasize my difference all day long.
But then the other kids definitely felt it and saw it. And so they kind of muted the point for a while. But at the end, they were like, bro, we always knew you did. Go fix it. Like, telling their mom, like, this is your fault. Go fix it. And she didn't. They all were like, look, we're going to side against the person that has been true to us from day one. And it hasn't been you, Mom. So
right. But also, to me, it's a lot of these kinds of stories, you look back to even how, as a child, you may notice it, and so you can throw it up in that person's face discreetly to make her feel that way. Because, I mean, clearly her sister knew it. I mean, she said, what do you think Mom's going to believe, me or you?
Yeah.
Like, right. So she played on it too, which you would as a child. But it shows how it was just very clear. So if it was clear to them, it was 7 times that amount to her specifically, personally. So I felt bad. And because I was such a bad child, sometimes I think, you just do stuff just to be mean. But when you're the bad child, you know what I mean?
How did you guys feel about, I know we're going back to the movie, or the show, not the casting, but Lexie's boyfriend. Did you, I did him
in the movie. Oh my gosh. I loved him in the movie because he was like, what you talking about?
You stole her story.
Well, okay, so when we talk about the portrayal of Black people, the power to the people Champagne was talking about earlier, like, I really loved the way that she portrayed the Black male in here. It wasn't, this troublemaker or hood rat or anything like that. She made him smart, she made him educated, and she made him check this girl on the ignorance that was coming out of her mouth.
Wise, you're right. You're right.
Yes,
I love it. She nailed that.
His name is Savante Hart, and he played Brian Harlan's in the show. But I agree. Like I've
seen him in other stuff. He's really good.
I don't remember him in other things, but I do. I loved who he was, who he stood for, how he said, like, I loved you and who you were, but this you I don't love. And that was just like wise beyond his years for high school is what I felt like. But I wanted to know what you guys thought about like the dynamic between him and Lexie, because she was totally trying to fall into that whole like, I have a boyfriend, we're so in love, I gave you my virginity, you're the quarterback of the football team, and you're black, so it gives me street cred. And then he was like, nah, bruh. Yeah, he was like, nah, bruh, like, you stole somebody else's struggle. Like, you don't get any credit for that. You like, if you're just sleeping with me, you don't get no credit for that. I was like, yes.
And by the way, right? I don't like coming to your house because your mama's always bringing up Martin Luther King.
And your mama's racist. She's the undercover racist. And don't even know.
He and Pearl connected over the undercover racism. That's awesome. Like how they were like, yo, I don't like it either. It was awesome. I mean, I loved his character. His character, and even like in the book, I liked it. I liked who he was because he just seemed like he was kind of like this neutral person, just helping her around. Lexie, he loved her, but like the whole kid thing, it just was a little off. But like he was there. He was stagnant.
No kids.
Yeah. But then the book, the movie or the show just turned it around to this like positive black male role, and I was like,
yeah.
Right. Yeah. The fact that Champagne has nothing to add now because you've covered everything.
I am fully proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too.
Thank you. Once again.
Gold star for Lynn. I wish I had a gold star to give you.
Okay, ladies. How are we going to rate this book to movie adaptation?
I'm gonna give it a half glass. And I'm giving it a half glass because I feel like everyone outside of Kerry Washington's character, in Pearl, I think they did a really good job mastering everyone else. And they kind of followed the storyline for the most part. So for me, it's a half glass.
Lynn, what you think?
I give it a long day at work because I think that they took the basis of the story and just ran with it to a point where I didn't really like it, but the casting for those characters were who I saw and who I envisioned, and they were good characters. So I felt like they brought the characters that I had in my head to life. But you took it a little too far there, people. Too far. So long day at work.
Champagne?
I'm torn. But because of the angry black woman, it's hard for me to give it. So I'm gonna have to go with the half glass also. And I want to give it a long day, but yeah.
I was teetering that too. Like it was one or the other. Yeah.
So I'll give it a half glass.
All right, Rhea.
And I'm gonna give it a half glass as well for the exact same reasons. It was a great movie for someone who hadn't read the book, but I just, the angry black woman thing just really threw me. It did.
Right.
I love you, Kerry Washington, but you killed my book for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I read the book and I was recommending the book to so many people. Like, it's such a great book. Read the book. And they were like, oh, I'm going to read the book and then watch the movie. And I'm like, yeah, me too. And then I did. And I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all.
Right. Sometimes it's like, oh, why not watch the movie? But, you have to.
That is kind of how you felt. But Celeste, please talk to us. Let us know how you felt. We really like to know. We'd really like to know how this transformed from the book to this miniseries. We keep saying
we can set up a Skype date and talk about it if you would like. But Celeste, please answer all those questions that we just portrayed in the last hour of this podcast. It's probably the longest.
Right.
So it didn't get a full bottle. Not a full bottle.
It didn't, but I drank a full bottle.
Just about.
All right, well, check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe, like. Let us know what books and movies you'd like us to review next. We are up for recommendations.
Yes, please give us some good feedback.
subscribe.
Negative, we love it.
Follow us.
Bye.
Bye.